Euthanasia bill has been drawn from Parliament's biscuit tin ballot box and is destined for a conscience vote. Now, David Seymour lodged the end-of-life choice bill in 2015. It was picked from the lottery today. The bill provides the best chance of legalising voluntary euthanasia. Mr. Seymour says the intention of the bill is to allow people with grievous and irremediable medical conditions to obtain medical aid to die if they should so choose.
The bill would allow a New Zealand citizen or permanent resident who is over 18, who has either a terminal condition or an irremediable condition that is declining, to be examined by two doctors to confirm that they're of sound mind and they understand the decision they're making, and to have their life ended or be given the means to end their own life at a time and place of their choosing, surrounded by their loved ones, instead of the kind of suffering that a lot of people face, instead of having to refuse food or water or medical treatment and just suffering through till the bitter end, instead of amateur suicides, which is the reality for some New Zealanders, instead of a doctor just giving you a little bit too much morphine, which goes on all the time, 4% of deaths according to the Auckland Med School. This is about people having choices of their own, and it's about compassion ultimately.
This was picked up on the back of the legislation drafted by Marion Street, former Labour MP, wasn't it?
That's right. My bill is very similar to Marion's. The biggest difference is that her bill would have allowed people to sign an advance directive, and so if you went into a state of dementia, then someone else could judge that you no longer wanted to live like that. My bill doesn't go that far. I think that the decision should only ever be made by a person who is judged to be competent and understand what they're choosing, and that person shouldn't have the decision ever made or coerced by anybody else. And my bill has lots of safeguards to ensure that's the case.
This will be a conscience vote, won't it?
It will be, and last count there are 40 current MPs who are in favour, 27 who are opposed, and a pretty large mushy middle who either haven't publicly expressed a view or have told me that they're unsure. So, it's going to be a matter of the 75% of New Zealanders who want this change. Ring up your local MP, go and see them, write to them, email them, pester them, and tell them, look, mate or matess, we put you in Parliament and pay your salary. You're supposed to reflect the will of the majority of New Zealanders.
This would then go, if it passed the first reading, it would go to committee?
That's right. So it's likely to have first reading either just before or just after the election, and then the next issue is the public submissions, whether there'll be a full process.
And the public submissions, as you and I know, and everyone listening knows, because I suspect everyone listening has a fairly strong opinion on this, will be full of passion and they will be polarised. And the people who oppose this do so because, and I'm paraphrasing, praising the sanctity of life, full stop, right?
Well, some people have different motivations, and some people believe that this is to do with the sanctity of life. What I would say to those people is that assisted dying laws, like my bill proposes, they don't increase the amount of dying that happens. They simply put the person in control under strict circumstances to alleviate suffering. And remember, it's not illegal in New Zealand to commit suicide. It's not illegal to refuse medical treatment or food and water. It's not illegal for a doctor to give you a bit more morphine than he might have otherwise to hasten the end of your life. So I don't think it is about the sanctity of life. All of those things already happen. This is about the person whose life it is being able to make a conscious choice.
So a conscience vote on whether the bill goes to a select committee for further consideration. That's the first reading.